Tonight I shall talk a little bit more about the different kinds of happiness, two kinds of happiness. Not many kinds, only two kinds of happiness. What the happiness we call Gihi Sukhang and Pabbajja Sukhang. You all know the word Pabbajja, isn't it? Pabbajja means going forth. That means they go forth from the home to the homelessness. They leave the home. This tradition of leaving home is not a new one. It is a very old one. Even dating back before the Buddha too. There was already this kind of tradition of after some time the people realize and then they leave home. But the Buddha explained it according to the way that the Buddha set out and explained very systematically. Now, firstly, we must try to understand what is the kind of happiness that the householder experience. Householder. That means those people living in the house, living in the home. What are the things that give them happiness? Because the word gihi means household. Happiness. It is very important to have happiness at home. To experience this kind of happiness at home. You know what the Buddha said? The Buddha says that there are certain kind of happiness which the lay people enjoy. First kind of happiness is what you call Atti Sukham. Atti Sukha means the happiness that you derive from possession. If you have something, if you possess something, if you possess money, if you have property, if you have many things, you have big house, you have car, or whatever property that you have, that gives you happiness. Right or not? That is what you call Atti Sukha. Then another kind of happiness that the lay people derive from is what you call Bhoga Sukha. Bhoga, B-H-O-G-A. I will give you all later if you want. You just listen and then try to keep in your mind this different kind of happiness. Bhoga Sukha means the happiness that you derive by using what you possess, by using your possession. You have money, you have wealth. If you cannot use that wealth, you don't derive much happiness. But if you can use that wealth, then it gives you more happiness. Like if you have a car, and if you cannot use that car, your happiness is limited. Your car sits there every day, you cannot smile all the time, You look after a few days, you get fed up. But if you can use the car and go here and there, if you go alone also, but if you can take somebody out, you can take your children, you can take other family members, you feel happy, that is what you call another kind of happiness that you can get from the worldly things that you have. Bhoga Sukham. Another kind of happiness, the third kind of happiness is Ananda Sukham. Ananda Sukham is the happiness that you get when you are free from debt. When you don't utang people, And when you don't have big overdraft from the bank. This is a kind of happiness that you have. But many people today in this world, they don't have this kind of happiness because they have a lot of higher purchase and they have that plastic card. You just spend, you just sign only, And some banks, especially the banks in Australia, they write to me also, ask me want, the plastic card or not. I say don't want, I just put aside. American Express and, all this, like they say you want, can. Huh? But we must be very careful. We should not get trapped in this kind of life. If we get trapped in this kind of life, then every time we will be thinking how we can afford to pay back. And if we get so used to having all the comforts, all the luxuries, but they are not ours. We have not really earned it. And any time can be taken away on if we don't pay back. Then there is some kind of uneasiness. And I have seen how people buy many things, even though they have no money. They go and borrow here, go and borrow there, and then they buy the things. And then when they come, end of the month, they get their salary, pay this one, pay that one, pay these things. No more money left. Have to borrow some more. This is what you call unbalanced livelihood. You do not know how to budget. Sometimes you see people outside, you see they have car, they have house, they have everything. But you do not know inside whether who really own that house, even in the worldly sense, you see. So some people are rich on paper. So the Buddha says, according to the advice, the Buddha says, if we want to maintain our worldly happiness, we should know how to have balanced livelihood. We should know how to balance our income and expenditure. We should know how to budget. You know the economics of the Buddha. Buddha was the greatest economics, or economist. First, I think, the first economist the world has seen. Good one, because he said he taught them how to have utilitarianism. Those who study economics, how to use the basic requirements. Start with the basic requirements of life. What are the basic requirements of life? Food, clothing, shelter, medicine. 4 things. Simplify our life to the barest of these necessities. They are already experiencing this, you see. And very simple. No? I told them this morning, they don't have to get worried about what clothes to use, what to choose. See our Upasikas, no problem. They get up in the morning, they know what to use already. They don't have to have headache to, try on this dress, that dress, what color, this thing, that color. No need. They want the matching blouse, skirt, shoes, slippers, I do not know what some more. They want all. Here, they know, they just put on the white. No need to put on also. You sleep like that, you get up like that. Oh, very good. And for the novices, simple still, right? You only know, just wrap around these things, and your hair also, no problem. Just massage your head, and you don't need mirror, you don't need cupboard, you don't need anything. And some of them ask me, they want blanket. Why you need blanket? You can use this one. That's your blanket, no? No need. You save so much time, energy, and money. This is a simple life you lead, no? And one size fits all, we do have a little, difference, but you can use this thing for a few years. If you grow a little bit, then you also same. But you see how much wastage you all. So when you do this way of life, see the Buddha, how the Buddha introduced this way of life, simple life. And that is why we maintain this kind of old-fashioned clothing. This is the most ancient, most simplest garb of what you call kinds of clothing, But when we go out, people look at us and sometimes they laugh at us. I remember when I was traveling. When I was in Paris, I went to Paris, the center of fashion design. And I walk around the boulevard and what you call the boutiques. They look at me, and they look from head to toe. I also look at them that way. And what's so funny, I think you dress up, you are also funny, this way. And then, anyway, that was little experience. And somebody wrote to me about, one monk wrote to me about his experience from London, near Oakenholt. Now, this monk has been going around to collect alms every morning. And he has to go past a certain boutique, fashion design house. And one day, he passed the corner of that and he saw the shop. He looked at the shop. He saw something very familiar. The mannequin, in the fashion, in the, what you call, the window, they dress up a kind of a plastic figure, and they have dressed up this mannequin with bare shoulder, one bare shoulder, like that. No? Just like ropes, like that. He looked at it as if another monk is inside there. So it seemed, he wrote and said that, look, the fashion is fast catching up. They are designing this fashion already. But you can still see, some design now, bare one shoulder, no? And simple. Another experience when I was in Greece. I was in Greece, in Athens, some years ago. And I was walking in Athens. And I hear little boys, some boys laugh and then, Papa, Papa, look. And then I also hear the father says, your great-grandfather used like that. He looked at his father, Yes, because the Greeks, they use the toga they put on, like something like this, toga. This is the ancient garb, simple ancient garb. And we still maintain this kind of clothing. So you shouldn't be shy to go out. With our Muslim brothers, they accept this kind of clothing. They can accept this kind of clothing. You know why? One day, that was quite a few years ago, Chief Reverend, when he was reading the newspaper, there was a big photograph there. And then during breakfast time, he come and says, you see, so many people now, there are many monks now in the newspaper, then I went to see, actually I saw those people who went to Haji, and they dress like this, bare one shoulder, especially when they are about to walk around the holy stone. Huh? Kabba. When they walk around that, they also walk, they have to bear one shoulder, and they walk around. And they also cut their hair, short. We have similar. So that's why when I see those taxi people, they don't laugh at me. They say, they sort of accept this kind of attire, that this is a religious attire. So you like to go around like this? You can continue. And right, the dressing, and how when we renounce the words, we lead this way of life, simple life, simplicity, humility, purity. This is what it stands for. And we go back to what another kind of happiness that lay people have. So far I mentioned how many kinds of happiness already? Can you remember? The first kind of happiness? Ati Sukhang, that is happiness you derive from possessing some material things. Then 2. Bhoga Sukhang, the happiness that you derive when you are able to make good use of what you possess. That is what you call Bhoga Sukhang. Then the third one is Anana Sukhang, when you are free from debt. Free from debt. Your mind is free. No? Then the fourth one is Anavajja Sukhang. If you can live a life free from blame. Free from blame here means that the wise people don't blame you. You cannot stop foolish people from blaming you. Remember last night I told you that story. Can you remember that story? How that man, Atula, his name, he went to Jetavana monastery where the Buddha and all the great disciples of the Buddha was living. And he wanted to find out, he wanted to clarify some of the doubts that he had in mind. He went to see, and he saw one monk walking to and fro. Who is that? That monk, what was that monk's name? Who? What is your name? That's one. That's the one. Revata. Revata was walking. He was doing his walking meditation, walking, pacing up and down, pacing up and down. And our friend Atula came and asked, Venerable Sir, can I ask you this question? Can I clarify this question? Revata looked at him and walked up and down. Then he got very upset. He says, very rude, this monk. Very proud. He don't want to talk to me. So with anger he went, and straight he went to another monk. And this time he went to see who? Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta was well known for expounding the Dhamma. Sariputta can explain everything, And so this time he asked the same question to Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta took everything and explained everything in detail, and took a long time. Then he said, I asked you a simple question, and why you answer me so long? Why you have to give me such a long answer? He was not satisfied, and he went to see another monk, and he happened to meet the Venerable Ananda. And Venerable Ananda he had very good memory, he had perfect memory, because every time he was close to the Buddha, and he remembered how the Buddha explained. And his mind, he was very concise. So when Atula came, when this man came to ask the same question, Ananda gave him very concise answer, short and sweet. Then he said, is that all? He was not satisfied with the short answer too. So he went to the Buddha and he complained to the Buddha. He said, I thought I heard about your great disciples. But I think, when I saw one, he was so proud, he don't want to talk to me. Another one, I asked him simple question, he answered me such a long way. I went to the other one, I asked him, and he just answered like that only. If you talk too much, people will blame you. If you talk little, people also blame you. No one in this world is free from blame. This is what you call the blame that foolish people blame. You cannot be free from this kind of blame. But what we are talking about, blameless life, is a life when you lead a way of life that wise people don't blame you. Wise people don't blame you. So you must know who are the wise. You must have some criteria to know who are the wise. We have to talk about this another time. Today we will talk about the happiness that you can derive from your lay life, from the household life. So there are, of these four kinds of happiness, the Buddha said that the last one, if you can lead a righteous way of life, a blameless way of life, that wise people don't blame you, you are free from conscience, guilty conscience, that is the highest happiness in the lay life. A peaceful kind of occupation, peaceful livelihood like that. You'll be happy. These are the kind of happiness that you derive. But that kind of happiness that you all derive from material things, any kind of material. It can be your house, it can be your car, new car, it can be even your friend, anything, any material thing that gives you happiness. What is the nature of that happiness? The nature of the happiness is such that it gives you happiness one moment, and the next moment it gives you headache and other kinds of ache also. Oh, some people very happy, they get big house. After saving a lot of money, they buy big house, and they're so proud to have housewarming and invite everybody to come. And then after that, housewarming over, everybody go, and they look around. They have to scrub, they have to wash the house, clean the house. Anyway, they still have children, they can call children. After 1, 2, 3 years, one son go to America, another son go to Australia, another daughter go to somewhere else. Now left husband and wife, big house. Cannot go out, cannot come to temple. Why? Because nobody. And they buy antique. Oh, very happy to show people the antique. Have a lot of antique in the house. And then how to go out? Very valuable things in the house. So they buy, some more lock and all kind of, what do you call that? The television, inbuilt television, security alarm. And they cannot go out, they cannot move because, they have big house. I have seen many people with big house, but that is their jail. They cannot move out. And so we must know. I'm not telling you to sell all your houses, And you should maintain. Only thing is you must know the limit. Like you must have some wisdom. When you decide to give some house, you must know some limit. You must think like, when I grow old like this, so many years, this son going to there, going there already, right? And where am I going? Right? I can go to temple, If not temple, you can stay in a kuti somewhere in the forest. Huh? If you can have that kind of planning, it's very good planning. Huh? And in fact, that is the way how in India there is a tradition like that. They call the ashrama, the 4 kinds of ashrams. First stage of their life, when they are young, it is they will study. They will spend all their time study and live a life of brahmachari, a pure life. And they will spend their time studying and acquire various fields of knowledge, the arts and the sciences. That we can say about, if we count the human lifespan to be 25 years, then, 100 years, then you spend about 25 years to do that. I think now also people spend about, how many years do you spend studying in school? At least 11, 12 years, right? And then you go to college, and then you do BA, MA, PhD, and whatnot. You do about how many years? 15 years, 20 years. 20 years of studies. Then after that, you have your study, you go and apply to find work. And you get good job, right? And secure. When you have the security, your parents ask you, what are you going to do next? How long are you going to live like that? Every year you go to your relatives, also ask you, how old are you already? Then you know what they mean. They want you to get married. So you get married. You know, once you get married, you add 20 years some more of dukkha. That's what the monk, that's what one monk told, you know. I did not tell this thing, I only repeat only, you know. Don't blame me for this one. And one monk in Australia, and he tell one couple, you know, you get married, or you only extend another 20 years, at least 20 years for dukkha. At that time he did not realize it, but later on he really realized it, you see. But when I look carefully, I think it is true, not only 20, maybe more than that. And but they have happiness too, but the happiness is also dukkha, no? We will tell you about that, how. And so this is what happens. And they live, they enjoy their life, and they bring up their children, and have the duty and obligation towards their children, educate them, and so on. You spend another how many years? About 20 years already. How many years already? Now 40 years old, or nearly 50 years old already. After that, what? What to do? What do you do? Well, some people wait for grandchildren, to look after grandchildren. But in ancient India, the tradition is, after you have performed that duty, then they turn to the next ashrama. So the first ashrama they call the brahmachari life. The next stage of life, next 25 years, 25 years, they call the grahaspata, that is household life. Then after fulfilling the household life, then they say that sannyasi. That is, they leave the religious life. They become more religious life. And then after that period, the fourth, they become vanaprastha. That is, they go to the forest. Like that. The 4 stages of life. It's good way too. But the Buddha explained in a different manner. Buddha says, if we have to wait like that, 20 years, 20 plus another 20, and then by the time you get about 50, 60 years old, and then you want to lead a religious life, you want to do walking meditation, you carry your leg, you want the leg to move one direction, it goes another direction. Not so easy to lead that way of life. You want to sit down, not so easy too, And so that is why the Buddha said that with regards to renunciation, with regards to giving, going out to lead a spiritual life, Buddha says there is no age. We don't count the age as long as there is the wisdom. When wisdom arises, when the person realize the nature of life and the nature of worldly happiness, and see the fleeting happiness, and he wants to get out of it, then that is a good time. So, good time. Anyway, now another thing is this, about pabbajja, gihi sukhang. So now you know a little bit about gihi sukhang, the happiness that you get from the worldly life. The thing that gives you happiness one moment, that thing gives you sorrow. You can see from the little child, you give him a toy, he is very happy, he plays with it, he throws up and it falls down and it breaks, he cries. That is the nature of worldly happiness. Observe it carefully, because this is the real nature. After you have seen this again and again, your mind becomes mature. And then you say, this happiness is very fleeting. Is there another kind of happiness? Yes, there is another kind of happiness. If after you try everything and you still cannot have real happiness, don't get fed up, because there is another kind of happiness. That's what the Buddha says. It is not the material happiness, it is the spiritual happiness. The happiness that you can derive from not material things. Then what? What is the spiritual happiness? Did you experience any spiritual happiness? What is it? That spiritual happiness, there is no up and down like that so quickly. How is that? It is more stable. We say that the peace of mind within, And that peace of mind within comes about when you have contentment. When you start developing contentment. You know what contentment is? What? When you are able to satisfy yourself with what you are able to receive, what you get, you are able to content yourself. We provide you with this kind of chair and this kind of table, and you are quite happy with it. You can use, you are quite happy with it, you are contented. And you don't ask, Reverend Sir, don't have the cushion a little bit, huh? Why this kind of table, this cheap one? That kind of mind has no contentment. If we want to experience the real spiritual happiness, we must train our mind to have more and more contentment. Because it is this real contentment that gives us peace within us. And eventually we can sit down, we can be contented, even though we can be in a room, no television, no radio, nothing, and we can sit down quietly and be happy. Can you? Yes. You can be alone. Your mind is not lonely because you know how to give metta to other people. Your mind is not lonely. And so you can live in peace. You don't depend. This kind of happiness don't depend on material things. You don't depend on husband, on wife, on sons and daughters. Because the happiness that you derive from husband and wife, sons and daughters, they give you happiness, they make you laugh, they also make you cry. One day you have to, separate two, sooner or later. But if you can train your mind to have this kind of contentment within you, then if they are there, it's good, you can enjoy. If they are not there, also good. Canon. This is what you all are trying to practice. When you were at home, you have your wife, children, you were happy. And now here can be happy too, isn't it? Huh? Because here you have the opportunity not to see them. No problem, no nagging, no, the little one don't say, Papa, want this, want that, and start crying, you don't hear all these things. Your mind is free like that. But in the night, sometimes they come to see you. They wait outside there. So when we talk too much about, the beauty of renunciation, sometimes they might not so happy. They think, wait after they don't want to go back home. But what we tell you is, this is the reality of life. Please consider these things, because the highest thing that you can do for one another, husband to wife, wife to husband, parents to children, children to parents. The highest thing that you can do for one another is to pave the way for one another to have the highest happiness. The highest happiness. Now you enjoy the kind of fleeting happiness. Happiness that you get through your senses, through your eyes, your nose, your tongue, your body, and your mind. You can enjoy those things. But after a little while, you see how fleeting it is, it comes and goes. Then your mind begins to mature and you think, is there some more lasting happiness? And to have that lasting happiness, you first try to develop virtues, good actions. You see, when you do something good, you help others, happiness, you get happiness, right? That kind of happiness does not depend on material things it gives you. This is one kind of happiness. Another kind of happiness that you get is the quietness, the peace of mind within you. The contentment. You are able to sit quietly, sometimes hot, sometimes cold, sometimes rain, sometimes dry, and yet you are able to maintain your equanimity. You have contentment. And so your mind is not moved like that. But then some people look at you and say, like that one, he cannot, no fun like that kind of life, isn't it? But he maintains his cool like that. That is what you call contentment. And the Buddha says, Santutti paramang dana. Buddha says, contentment is the greatest wealth. Contentment is the greatest wealth. If you have all the wealth, if you have all the money, you don't have contentment, you want more and more, more and more, you are not happy. But if you have enough, you know how to make use for yourself, you know how enough for your children, enough for, then you have contentment. And that contentment is your wealth. Nobody can take away that contentment. But the wealth people can take away. But the real contentment nobody can take away like that. And that is why we try, in this program, we try to simplify our life and try to develop some contentment. And then that will give us more lasting happiness. Not so much high and low, but calm, blissful contentment like that. And when you do good, you avoid evil and do good, Every time when you sit, you will have good thoughts will come up to your mind. When good thoughts come up to your mind, the good thoughts actually, they give happiness in your mind. But if you have not done much good action in your past, when you are young, if you don't do good action, when you grow old, you sit down, no good thought arise in your mind. And if you have done some cruel things when you were young, you have not done good things, then when you sit down, some thought arise in your mind. Or somebody come and pass by and you look at that person and you think that, oh, that person, I cheated him so much. You want to run away. Another person you look and you say, oh, I know the father, and I scolded the father and we are not in good terms. And now, you see, this kind of feeling that you get when you don't do good things and you have done harm to others, these things come up again and again. If you do good, again the good action come up. Like if you help other people when they are in trouble, you console them. When they want to commit suicide, you talk to them in various ways, you go out of your way to help them. Later on, you meet so-and-so. Oh, that's the one, Last time, he want to commit suicide. Now, oh, very happy already. You are happy. And you see that one, that minister. Remember, I taught him in that class. If you are a good teacher and you have looked after, there are quite a few teachers here. You get that kind of happiness. You have done your duty like that. And that is the function of wholesome action, good action. When the good action, when you see it ripen, you become happy. And that happiness is important for you to strengthen your mind. It is like the vitamins for your mind. So that you can sit long time. If you sit alone and no good thoughts arise in your mind, and if there's some bad thoughts arise in your mind, you feel very restless. Your mind becomes very restless and very weak. But if you sit and you have some good thoughts come to your mind like that, and you can give metta to all people, your mind becomes strong. You can sit long time. You are happy. You have your mind. That happiness gives you the kind of strength, so that you can maintain long time. And then you learn how to calm down your mind, like what you did in the meditation session. You sit down for a little while, you watch your breath, breathe in, breathe out, calm your mind down. And any thoughts, any disturbance that come to your mind, when you become aware of it, you cut, you let go of them, you come back to your breath. This is how you tame, this is how you train your mind. And later on, it will be very helpful to you, because when you go out, all kinds of worries, all kinds of anxieties. When you go back and then you have children go out late in the night, don't come back, you are worried. If you are not worried, your wife, your mother worried. How can you help? Like that. All kinds of worries you have. Anxieties. And when these worries and anxieties come to you, how can you overcome these worries and anxieties? The only way is if you can strengthen your mind and cut them out, let them come and go. That's all. Just see it come and go. To be able to do that, you need to strengthen your mind. You need so that your mind can have the calmness and observe it just come and go. Let it come and go like that. This is what you call letting go of it. And so this is how you can remove unwanted thoughts. By training your mind, by mental culture, by what we used to call this meditation or mental culture. So when you train your mind like this, later on, when you have worries, you have problems, you can just cut off. Take deep breath. Finish. Can you? You can try? You should try these things. Sometimes when somebody make you angry, or you get upset because you don't receive enough food, I think still food is a big item. Or you go and get your drink, and then some people have got 2 or 3 serving and finish already. And then you have no, so you get upset. What do you do when you get upset? And then you start thinking, go out, say, why like that, why like that, And then, not satisfied, you go and tell another person, I go there and don't get this thing on. And you make the other person also get upset. Next time you get upset, you look inside and take deep breath and watch your breath and says, this is an opportunity to practice khanti, practice patience, practice endurance. Can you try? Practice khanti. If you want to strengthen your mind, the way to strengthen your mind, the way to have more lasting peace, more lasting contentment, the blissful contentment, we must know, we must challenge. And that is why sometimes we want to sleep, the body wants to sleep, the mind says, no, I will sit. Again the body wants to sleep. You say, no, I will sit. You win the battle, you feel victory. But after a little while, Mara comes. You know Mara? Mara comes and tell you, okay, since you don't want to sleep, just lie down a little while, 5 minutes. Then you succumb to this temptation. Okay, 5 minutes. And, Mara take you away. 5 minutes become. After 5 minutes, get up, you say, still tired, sleep some more. And after 10, 20 minutes, still you feel drowsy and sleepy. Sleep some more. And then you get up, blur, your mind blur, and come to class, tired some more, want to sleep some more. This is how Mara wins the battle. And like that, you must confront. And that is what? This is how Mara wins the battle. And like that, you must confront. And that is what? This is how we train ourselves. When we are, sometimes when we go in for retreat, we train ourselves. In the night, purposely we don't want to sleep so much. We walk. In the dark, we walk. And then when we see somebody walking, we also walk like that, to and fro. When we feel drowsy, after eating, we feel drowsy, we walk. And sometimes can feel the drowsiness, come, like want to fall down, and then stand up. And walk some more. Until you come to a point when you feel the drowsiness go away. When the drowsiness go away, then you are alert. And then you can say, okay, now I will rest. If you can try. Sometimes when you feel drowsy and sleepy, don't sleep. Challenge it. And then when you feel nice and fresh, then you say, I will lie down now. Because now, when you feel nice and fresh, you think, now I can walk, now I will continue to walk. Now your body wants to continue your walk. Your mind says, now I will take rest now. You rest. This is how you train your mind. The food, people give you food. You see, you don't like to eat. Then you say, I will eat it. And you contemplate on the purpose of taking food. Go there. You win the battle. That's how certain things. Sometimes when we eat our bowl, remember Prajan taught us, and when we eat in our bowl, we put the food in the bowl. And then I see the monks, after putting all the food, you know what they do? They take water, they pour in the bowl. Tomorrow you can try. And the idea is, when I saw them put water, I also put, but I put little bit, And the idea is, to get rid of the taste, to mix everything, become one taste only. And not only that, we sit, we don't eat immediately. We don't see the food only grab like that. We sit and watch our mind. Sometimes the water comes out because hungry already, and you see the food that you like to eat, you want to eat, and you watch, there is desire in your mind. Then you say, Bhutto, 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 Bhutto. And breathe in and breathe out until the desire goes away. And the teacher knows, when we are hungry, we want to eat that. So purposely the teacher talk longer, talk some more. Because as long as he talk, we cannot eat, you see. We have to listen him talk. So he keep on talking. Sometimes we look at the time, nearing 12 o'clock already, But he still talk until about 5-10 minutes so that he stop. Then we have very little time to eat. And sometimes after sitting, I find that no more desire to eat. And then I tell myself, eat. But there is no more desire to eat. This is how we tame our mind. It is difficult, but I think it is worthwhile. You try little bit. Tonight you can try. When you feel drowsy, don't sleep. But when you feel fresh, your mind fresh, then sleep. Try to sleep. And then you will get up in the morning fresh. If you feel drowsy and your mind a bit confused and tired and you sleep, the next morning also you feel drowsy and confused. This is what we call the last thought in the day, condition the first thought in the morning. And the first thought in the morning condition the last thought in the night. This is what we call the law of cause and effect. One thing conditions the other. And that is why we have the religious routine in the morning and night. Our religious routine in the morning is such when we get up in the morning, we clean ourselves, and we have our religious routine. So that in case we still have, a very confused state of mind, we get inspiration. Our mind becomes clear. And that thought will condition our afternoon and so on. And then in the night, in the evening, we again have religious routine to free our mind, to make our mind happy, calm, so that we have good mind in the night, and then that can condition the morning. And this is the value of your traditional practice at home. When you have a shrine, when you have an altar at home. I see this value because when I was young, I see how my father goes to work. He never misses. Before he goes to work, he goes to the altar and he offers incense, offers tea. And then after that, he goes to work. As soon as he comes back from work, he will go again to the altar huh? And then and offer incense, offer that. Then I see sometimes he stay a long time, and like he talk to the Buddha and talk to Kuan Yin like that, you know. And but after that he is calm like that. Huh? And this is the value, because many people who don't have this kind of religious routine, in the morning they get up and they are not so happy with the breakfast the wife prepare, not so good one, and he had to, so he's not so happy. He goes to office, he takes all the trouble at home, and he pass the bucket to his what? Secretary. Or if not the secretary, to his subordinate. He gets angry with the subordinate for nothing. Why? Subordinate asks him, why? Because, bad time at home in the morning. And then, after having trouble in the office, he comes back home, nobody to catch, he catch the wife and the children. And he gets angry with wife and children for nothing. Because, he has a lot of tension from office, and he takes that tension and stress and tension back home, and then pass back to them. So, if you want to get out of this kind of rut of living with a lot of tension, that is how the religious practice is important. In the morning, you calm down yourself. Pay your homage to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, calm down yourself. And whatever problem you have, before you go out of your house, free your mind. Free your mind. And then go to office. And you have metta, loving kindness. And you start the day. And then when the weather warm up, you also get warm up. And then the people to get warm up. And then you get upset. And by the time you come back, you're very hot already. That's the time you go back to the shrine and cool yourself down. And if you cannot cool down, you should have some water near the shrine, and you can drink that holy water. It's very good also. That's what they call the magic of holy water, to cool yourself down. Whatever means that you can do to make yourself more peaceful, more calm, like that. And this is how you can maintain the happy family. At least you can maintain peace and harmony in the family. When you can maintain your calm, when you can maintain your cool, keep cool throughout the day like that. This is the function of religious routine. So the religious routine that you carry out plays a very important part in maintaining a more lasting kind of peace, longer time. And if you can maintain, if you can sit down, first you train your mind, sitting down, calming down. Any thoughts come to your mind, you are aware of it, you let go of it. Then you can make your mind longer, you can have peace of mind. First you try by closing your eyes. But later on, when you open your eyes, you should maintain your peace also. If you only close your eyes and you have peace, you open your eyes, no more peace, then, not so useful. Also useful for the period that you close your eyes. So, sometimes you should train yourself with your eyes open. Look, see, observe, but don't cling to it. No aversion, no clinging. You maintain your peace. You try to maintain longer time. And this is how eventually you can make yourself happy. You can have happiness always. You can have peace longer and become eventually always you have peace of mind. Now, the idea of renunciation, the idea of giving up, many people have misconception. They think that, Buddhism is giving up and, running away from society, giving up what you call the world, your responsibilities to the world, family responsibilities and so on. No. We give up to train our mind. When our mind is strong and free, so that we can take greater responsibility, higher responsibility. That was what the Buddha did when he left home. As Prince Siddhartha, he left home after he was married, after he had a son. What was the name of the son? Rahula. Some people ask this question, isn't it what you call running away from one's responsibilities, shirking one's responsibilities, that he left home like that? But you must understand, we must understand the intention of Prince Siddhartha when he left home. He left home not because of a disagreement with the wife, not because of quarrel, not because he gets angry and wants to run away from home. No. He saw, after he had seen the four sides, after he had contemplated and seen how people grow old, become sick and die, he had the thought in his mind, my wife, my father, my child will also grow old, become sick and die. He had in his thought, how can I help them to be free from this old age, sickness and death? That was the thought he had in mind. And with that thought in mind, he says, I will go out to find the truth, to find the way how I can overcome old age, sickness, death, and I will come back to help my wife, my father, my son. He had that kind of confidence, he had that kind of, and that was what he did. He strived for 6 years in the forest under different teachers, and finally he did on his own. He gained his enlightenment. His mind was clear. After he was able to detach himself and endure a lot of suffering, hardship, his mind he became strong, and then he went into deeper reaches of his mind. Then he realized the nature of life, the true nature of life. And he saw the cause of all suffering. And then, after that, he went back. He taught the Father gained enlightenment, the Father became free from suffering. He taught the Son followed him, became a monk and became free from suffering. The wife later realized and followed this way, practiced this way, and the wife too was free from suffering. His cousin, who is a cousin, Nanda, where is he? Nanda. Cousin too was free from suffering like that. So the Buddha's, that is why we say that the Buddha's ministry of 45 years was a great success, because he was able to fulfill his wish, the great wish he has to bring happiness, real happiness to his kith and kin. And that is why I hope you all also have this kind of thought in your mind. Maybe not to run, not to go away for a long time, but short time, but slowly have understanding in Dhamma and develop more and more of your patience, your endurance, and get rid of your fussiness, learn how to appreciate some good things, learn how to praise when something is good, then you go back, you can make your wife, you can make them happy, you can make parents happy, you know how to respect your elders, you go back to school, you know how to respect your teachers, they will love you and they will pave the way for you to study well and become successful in life. And this is what. And you know how to bring them to the Dhamma, you lead them to the Dhamma, to the right way of life, to the good life. That is the highest thing that one can do. And that is what the Buddha says, how we can respect our parents. The Buddhist attitude of respect is, there is a parable. You can carry your mother on the right shoulder, your father on the left shoulder. And even if they are to live for 100 years, you carry them where they want to go. Even they want to go to Australia, you carry them in the aeroplane. And you nurse them when they are sick. You clean them when they, are dirty. Still, the Buddha said, you cannot repay the debt you owe to them. That is. Then how can you repay the debt that you owe to your parents? Buddha said, you can repay them if you can pave the way for them to lead a good life and show them the path that leads to the end of suffering. If you can do that, then you more than repay them what they have given you. And in this way, if we have this kind of thought, children pave the way for parents. Parents, again, support, give the moral support to their children. And from life to life, you pave one another to avoid evil, to do good, to purify your mind. This is what you call building up the parami, building up the perfection. You can build up your perfection, at home, husband and wife. In many cases, wife want to come to temple, husband don't want to come. At the most, husband drive the wife and drop the wife and wait outside in the temple. Sometimes, husband want to come temple, wife don't want to come. Wife wait at home, husband go back late, and the wife next. Sometimes children want to come to temple, but parents don't allow them. Sometimes parents want to come to temple, children don't allow them because they don't want to drive their elderly parents because they say, they have important work to do. So you see, this life is not what you call spiritually supporting. But if you can support one another, especially the spiritual kind of the goodness for righteous life, if you can support one another, this is a very great thing to do. And that is how you are born. You will be born in a family, like brothers and sisters. In this novitiate program, we have so many brothers and sisters, cousin brothers and cousin sisters, and sometimes mother and son also. This is not a mere coincidence. I think this is your karma. It is your good karma that you have done in the past. What you have done in the past, you have in the past paved the way for one another to come to the Dhamma. And in young days, before you face the world, the hardships, the madness of the world, you have the opportunity to learn the right way of life, so that when in times of crisis, in time of problem, you know where you can turn to. I think you all are very lucky. If I have another life, I will become monk very young. The youngest, if I can born as a monk, is good. you know. And this is how, and you all here, you come, and you should live as one Dhamma family and support one another. Give metta one another so that you can get a maximum benefit, and you support in various ways one another. What happens? This thing, little bit of thing, it will grow. This action will have good reaction. This good action will have good reaction. This is what you call good karma. Now, the parents who have sent their children here, it is not easy for parents to send their children here, because at home they experience, loneliness. Sometimes they feel like taking their children back. And because the children are here, they come to temple to listen. If children are not here, they don't come. Every night you don't come to temple. Only when we have no issue program, you see your daughter here, I think husband here, or and so you come. And because you come, you have to hear. You don't like, also you hear. And from hearing this Dhamma, something may penetrate into your mind. Certain things you may not agree, but something you may agree with. And then you try to practice this thing. And this is how you can improve, make yourself improve in your life. And when they go back, if they can set a good example, and this is how you can change. You can change your family, your relative way of life for the good, for the better. Like this, life to life. And what we call this is, we call it Kalyana Mitta, good friends. Never mind if you don't have good friends. Never mind if you have, if you do not have good parents, if you don't have good children, never mind. Don't be upset. But just understand that it is also my karma, what I have done in the past. Don't blame anybody because of our karma, what we have done. But now that you have the opportunity, you should determine from now on, I shall make good friends. The friends that you make here can one day become your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter, your mother, your father. This is what we believe. We believe that in the long round of samsara, from our life and death, the cycle of birth and death, the Buddha say, it is difficult to find somebody who has not been a brother, a sister, a mother and father to one another. Sometimes we only change color. We become a bit more white or yellow or brown or black, not black, or brown, We change a little bit color because we like to travel here and there and we get more sun, we change color. Our skin change color. Our hair may change color. But inside, deep within us, we have something in common. What is that thing in common? We all who are born in this world, we will grow old. Whether we like it or not, we will one day grow old, we will become sick, we will have to die. Don't say, sui, don't talk these things. No. Because this is the reality of life. We must think about it again and again, so that we don't become so greedy, so that we don't attach so much to all our things, so that we can give up more. Learn how to give up, learn how to renounce. The more you renounce, the more you receive. Right? You see? You renounce one meal, but see, you get so much food. You cannot eat finish also. Right? You renounce one brother, one sister, temporarily. You get how many brothers and sisters? You must live like brothers and sisters. I renounce one mother, one father. Everywhere I go, when I see elder people, they are like my mother and father. I renounce 2 sisters, but I have many sisters. I renounce one house. If I had stayed in one house in Malacca, that will be the end of my house. It means everywhere I go, I must go back there. But now I have many houses. They are not mine, but I can stay. Enough, I think enough. Huh? If I have one temple, then, I get stuck in that temple. But now that I don't have any temple, all temple I can go. I think it is good life. And I don't think when is my next meal. When I travel, I don't think when is my next meal. I don't think sometimes where am I going to stay. There were occasions when I stayed outside in the canopy of the sky when I was in India twice. But in other places it did not happen. I always get some place to stay. And what else do we want? We want some food to eat. We want maybe some clothes to wear, some robes when they are torn and tattered. We want some shelter. And we need some medicine when we are sick. When I get sick, people bring all kinds of medicine. Sometimes if I take all of them, I get more sick. So I must know what medicine to take. Yes, everybody wants to give medicine. So we must know, we must apply our mindfulness and wisdom too. So this is what you call the life of renunciation. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you cling, the more you lose. When you give up, you get more like that. So now you are convinced? You want to stay? Never mind. And now you should build up your parami, your perfections, your good action, and sow the seeds of your spiritual life. You can make your determination, If you cannot finish your work, if you cannot finish putting an end to your craving and attachment, if there is any birth that you have to go through, the first sign of white hair, you will come to temple. Can you make that aspiration? There was one king, in fact, that was a bodhisattva. Before he became the Buddha, the bodhisattva, in one of the Buddha's past life, he was a king. And he had made that determination. He told his barber, the moment you see any white hair, please let me know. He says, I'm going to give up the kingdom. And true enough, one day, the barber cut his hair and he saw, sir, there are this white hair now here. Then this king, he says, now it is time for me to give up. Just like that. Can you give up the throne? He gave up just like that. And because of his determination, because of his adhisthana, resolution. How do we renounce? How do we really renounce? We really renounce when we have confidence in the law of karma, in the law of cause and effect. When we have confidence in the teachings of the Buddha that this life is not the only life. When I want to renounce, I thought, this is not the only life. And I was thinking how I can answer my father if he asked me this question. I know my mother won't ask because my mother understands. But my father, so I thought of this question. I think that this is only life. If it is true that I have lived many lives and that there can be many more lives to live, if by renouncing, if I make a mistake, it's only this one lifetime, I think. Next lifetime I won't make mistake. And I think again that this life is so uncertain. So uncertain. Because I have seen my own classmates who have passed away. I have seen and I have heard very rich people, very powerful people, they pass away. And I think, when I think the Buddha also, who was great, also have passed away, I think, why? I can also die any time. Suppose like I have walked outside and I have been knocked down, I would have died already. But now since I still have life, why not I make good use of this life? Like this kind of reason I want to give my father. But when I approach my father just keep quiet, no question asked. I say, silent consent. But as I told you that later on when I was ordained, he came with me to Sri Lanka. His main concern was this: whether he can live, how can he live like that? Many parents think, how can they live without children to support them, to look after them? How can a person live without children, without wife to look after? And so when I took him to Sri Lanka, he saw some old monk in the temple. And he says, no children, no wife. But how come he lives so old, so happy like that? He thinks, then he has confidence, it is possible to live. And so when he came back, he started taking 5 precepts, started meditating and so on. And changed his life. And then monks come, he likes to give dana to monks. So he likes monks now. Before he passed away, monks came to see him too. So this is how it can change one's view. And the highest thing is, in our renounced life, if we can give up not only our hair, not only material possession, but eventually to give up all our wrong views. All the stupid views that we have, the superstitious ideas that we have, that have crystallized in our minds, if we can use the Dhamma, develop our wisdom and insight, and throw away, discard all these views, then our mind becomes free, really free. Then that is the highest renunciation. That is the highest fruits of renunciation. And I think that is sufficient for tonight. We will continue these things tomorrow, but if you have any questions, you can ask. We have a few more minutes. Parents have good intention for their children. Husband have good intention for their wife. Wife have good intention for their husband to come back and become better husband. Very good intention. And this good intention will have good results, because that intention itself is a good karma. It will have good results. And that is how we see. If we have more space, I think there will be more novices, more upasikas. I think so. If we have more facilities, they will come like that. But because of limited time and space, we have to limit these things. We have to limit whose karmas ripen first. And Let your karma ripen more and more like this. And determine that you can make good use of your life for yourself, for your family, for other people too. You can help others. Some people, they see, when they ask me, oh, I can travel here and there, various countries, and then they think, oh, good to become monk too, huh? Can travel. But, unless you can give up, if you are attached, then you cannot go anywhere. But if you can give up, you can go anywhere. So, who in the end will look after you? If you decide to become monk all your life, who will look after you? I ask you this question. Who? Not only mine. Who? Dhamma. More specifically, it is right, Dhamma will look after you, Dhamma will protect you, but more specifically, that's right, your karma. If anybody asks me this question, who are looking after you, I say my karma. My karma look after me. No doubt you all are looking after me, right? But it is my karma too, what I have done. Because I decided to come, because I decided, because I decided to come and to, to learn and to impart my knowledge. Because of this action, that I receive some support from all others. That is what you call karma. Karma. So if you have good karma, you don't worry. Like the monk Sivali. You know Sivali, the Venerable Sivali? Wherever he goes, he gave a lot of food. So much so the Buddha knows him. Every time a big group of monks want to go to a certain village, and that village there are no supporters, Buddha says, where is Sivali? Because the moment Sivali joined the retinue, do not know from where food will come. People will come and offer food like that. That is why. And there is another monk famous for getting warm clothing, blankets. Wherever he goes, he gets a lot of blankets. He can share with others because also of his past karma. Like this. This is what. That's why when somebody is born, you go and see the horoscope, the Chinese horoscope, and the Chinese horoscope say, this child bring how many sack of rice, how many sack of gold, and how many liters of water. But some children don't bring enough rice, don't bring enough gold. So the parents have to add gold to him. So that's why you get your name, Chin. They add in gold into your name. Do you know? That's how they name. That is the way how the astrological naming, the Chinese name, that if they find through your horoscope that you have come to this world, not enough gold, so they add gold to your name so that you become more balanced. If you are too hot, you have too much fire, you don't have enough water, they put water, sui, they put more and more this thing. So your name have a lot of water, so that you become more balanced like this. And if you put too much fire, that person become very hot. So you have to change your name and put water a little bit. But this is how they balance the name. But there is another naming, go according to the sound. The Indian way of giving the name go according to the sound, the vibration. If your mother is Ma, Ma something, Mary or Ma, then that Ma must rhyme with another syllable, so that they don't fight. Otherwise they will always quarrel like that. But that is only sound. But there is, underlying this is what we call karma. Buddha says, if you get good husband, good wife, good son, good daughters, it is because of your good karma. This is what you all are doing. You are all now actually sowing the seeds of good karma. And let this karma mature and ripen. Okay, any questions? If no questions from you all? They only want to hear, they don't want to. No question? Sure? If you have no question, don't trouble yourself. If you have no trouble, don't trouble yourself. But tomorrow, sometime we will question them because this is only first day, first night. Last night was naming ceremony. And we give you a little time so that you can talk to your parents and relatives and others. And so I think we will end here.